Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you so much to Show Home Live for having me. My name is Alana Silva, and I have the pleasure of working for boxbrownie.com. And today we're here to talk to you a little bit about the virtual staging and how it can impact your potential sales and sell a bit faster, which is always a great topic. So just a little bit about us. So like I said, I work for a company called boxbrownie.com. It's an Australian-based company, and we are the world leader in property marketing. So we see so many different images every day for different parts of, I guess, the real estate property realm and different ways people are trying to sell houses a bit faster. Virtual staging is definitely one of those topics that it does have such an impact on the sales process. And I'm really excited today to talk about a little bit more in detail and how it can help. So just to start off, I just have a true or false question that I want to run by everyone. So the questions is staged homes, so that can be physical or virtual staged homes, sell for 75% faster than empty listings and can fetch for up to 20% more than non-staged homes. So true or false? Hope you all picked true. Now, this is a statistic that comes from the National Association of National Association of Realtors. So it is a little bit more residential real estate kind of heavy. But what's amazing about this one is it really goes to show the importance of why we need staging. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about that later. But I think it's important to kind of answer the question, what is virtual staging? Now, if you're sitting there thinking, I'm not 100% sure, that is so fine. It is something that often confuses people. So what virtual staging is a type of home staging which an interior design is created in a graphic editor. So it sounds super complicated, but basically what happens is it's not physically staged. We have a photo, we go in and we virtually stage it. So we basically insert the furniture after the photo is taken. With the main goal of this type of visualization really is to create a highly realistic image of the property without having to physically stage the space. So what it's doing is it's saving you time and it's saving you money by snapping a photo and being able to kind of show what it could look like. Now, with this one, it's actually virtual staging been around for quite a fair bit of time. It is something that's probably only been a little bit more commercially adopted in the last, say, like 10 years. But a really big reason for why it's so popular at the moment is because of the changes to technology. It is so photorealistic these days that it's often hard to tell, and I often get stumped as, oh, okay, is that real or is it virtually staged? When it first came to market, a lot of the properties would have actually looked like this. Now, when this first came to market and technology was kind of first available, I can imagine this being quite cool, like, oh, wow, this is amazing. But something like this isn't really going to help with your property marketing, given how important that listing is, or being able to show a realistic example of the space. So I love this example because it really goes to show how far we have come. And yeah, like it's such a great example. So why use virtual staging? There's so many different reasons why, different types of people in the property industry. So whether you're in new construction, you're an estate agent, there's so many different reasons why you would use virtual staging, but I've kind of narrowed it down to 8, which sounds like a lot, but let me unpack it a little bit. So what it's going to do is it's going to increase buyers' interest. So 90% of buyers start their search online. So you have such an amazing, product in the sense that you have a new house, which is something that everyone wants, or most people want, and it's so beautiful. But being able to showcase that online to kind of increase that buyer's interest is only really going to help. It's going to help a lot of things, but it's going to help you kind of sell quicker. So with 90% of the buyers starting their search online, it's really important that we're able to wow with listing. So sometimes you're maybe advertising a property before it's finished, or it's finished and you haven't been able to get staging in, or maybe the show home's not ready. Being able to virtually stage these properties is such a quick way to get it online and kind of generate a little bit more buzz about it. Even if it's in a coming soon status or something like that, it's just going to help you kind of generate that interest. The second reason is you show the property's full potential and each room's intended use. So I think this one is quite important for many, many different reasons. But a lot of the times we are designing spaces that have, maybe it's a loft and you want to be able to show everything in the one space, or maybe you want to show the different ways people can use it. Being able to do that in a virtual staging capacity really is going to help the potential buyer, but it's also going to, help you guys save money, which is amazing. Number 3, it's more cost effective than traditional staging, which is absolutely true. Different companies offer different pricing, so you kind of unpack that with the supplier you choose, but it's just a really, really cost-effective way to be able to showcase design choices. Fast turnaround times, so 48 hours and your images are ready to go. Some of them are a little bit quicker, some of them take a little bit longer, but 48 hours is a general good, it's a general good average for people. The next one is sell your house faster, stage home sell 75% faster. Like I said, that is one that we took from a residential space, but I do see how it could help influence the new construction, new build space. This one I think is probably the most important and the reason why I love virtual staging so much, and it's showcase a unique or multi-purpose space in different ways. Now more than ever, we have homes that have like 3 or 4 bedrooms, and maybe people only need 2. Less people living in the house, more space. So being able to show the different ways they can utilize these spaces and not just have them as the dump room or where you're putting your extra clothes, I think is really important. So we have people come through that are, looking at ways that they want to show home gym, or maybe they want to show a potential office. There's so many different reasons why people want to show different spaces. The 7th one is appeal to a wider demographic of potential buyers. So I was at a conference recently and they talked about how 1 in 5 people are buying houses with the intention of it being a multi-generational home. So, you've got potentially 3 generations of people living in the one space. So being able to kind of appeal to, maybe you've got grandparents, parents, and the child in the house, and being able to show all the different spaces and how everyone can comfortably live is so amazing. And a lot of your houses you are creating have this purpose. So why not show people instead of just writing about it, which I think is so important. And finally, stage home sell for more money 83% of the time. So I think with this one, the important thing to take away from this is that not everyone you're selling your new build to works in the industry that we do. We obviously look at floor plans a lot. We understand spaces. We can instantly walk into a space and see what it looks like. But the average person probably doesn't have that, eye to them because they don't see it every day. So being able to get people by staging them and showing them really increases that emotional attachment and emotional investment in a property. So that is, I think, probably a key indicator of why they sell so much quicker. So now I'm going to show you some of the different staging styles because it's interesting to talk about a concept, but it's nice to kind of see some examples. And, maybe you'll start thinking how you can use it in your different spaces. So first one is Hamptons. This is probably my favorite just because it's so pretty blue a lot of the times, but it can be used in so many different spots. So this example here, it's a beautiful outside space that looks a bit bare, and I would look at that and get a little bit confused about how I would furnish it. Showing something like this, it's quite clear, it's quite easy, and it really goes to paint that picture of, oh, this is an entertaining space. And if that's the type of demographic you're going after, people that will often host or entertain, it's a really easy way to be like, hey, look how beautiful you can make this space. Next, we have traditional. Traditional's like an amazing example of a lot of houses you'd probably see in England. Whether you're refurbing or you're actually creating, you've got a new construction that has actually been designed to look like this, traditional definitely has a spot, but it's probably one you wouldn't use as much. So this is an example here. We've got the beautiful wooden fireplace and the floors, and then we've been able to go in and stage it. You'll notice down on the screen, it says virtually staged. We actually always recommend putting a disclaimer on that, particularly if you're staging something to show a different way than what it's going to be. So you're going to probably have a lot of people, being able to walk through potentially an empty house or your show home. So being able to be like, hey, this is what we were able to create online, but letting people know that that's not what they're going to see when they get there is quite important. Then we have urban industrial, which I think this one is probably perfect for your loft apartments type, which probably don't get too much in London, but it's just, again, another example of the many different style choices you have. So this is, again, a space that obviously we're going to be cramming a lot of things into the one space. So being able to show people that you can have a beautiful couch and a sitting area in a smaller apartment or a smaller space, I think is quite key. Contemporary, this is probably one we're going to lean on a little bit more in our beautiful new spaces. And this is an example here I love because this room could be so many things. You can see that the windows are see-through, so they're probably not going to be a bedroom. So you're probably thinking, oh, I wonder what it could be. So in this example, what they've done is they've staged it to be an office. I saw something the other day about lots of people, lots of millennials are now buying houses with spaces in mind for their pets. So, you could turn that into a pet space. You could turn it into a kid's playroom. It could be an office. It could be a reading room. There's so many different ways you can use this space, even a gym. Yeah, very nice views outside to it. And that's where virtual staging really has that impact. You can also notice over here that the flooring hasn't been finished. So they finished this space and they really just want to get something out there to show people what it could look like. It's a really great way, like I said earlier, to get it into a coming soon status, or to just be able to update your potential buyers on the current progress. Next, we have farmhouse. Now, this one you won't probably use as much, similar to traditional style, but it's definitely something that has a place if you are, creating a space based on, say, a typical country house, or maybe you're refurbing a place as well. So this is a space where obviously the room is a little bit more dated than what you guys typically work with. But it's just to go to show how beautiful farmhouse can be, and the different, farmhouse is quite wood-based and lots of flowers. Next one, we have modern, which I think will also be quite a popular one. This is our most popular style for sure. And it's one of the easiest ones when I don't know how to stage something. I'm like, okay, I'll pick modern because I typically know how it's going to turn out. So this one here is another interesting space. It would be quite a big bedroom if it was a bedroom. But what we've done is we've actually staged it as a media room. So it really goes to show that space is quite large. It's a wonderful, entertaining space. And here's how you would do it. We also have this one here. It's a beautiful new townhouse, I believe. And what we've been able to do here is to stage it as you would typically find it. So in this particular example, what I imagine has happened is they probably are going to get staging in, or they have a show home, and then we've gone and staged it and just to kind of get something out there, but also show it in a different furniture style. The other thing I love is that, if this photo was listed online, that PowerPoint with the tape around it's quite obvious. We've been able to nicely cover that up because realistically, when you get to that space, that's not going to be the first thing you see. But when I look at that photo, that is the first thing my eye gets drawn to. So it's a clever way. We never recommend concealing flaws, but we know that when you get into that space, it's not going to be as obvious. And this one as well, empty space, it could be, obviously we don't have floor plans, so we can't exactly tell where it is. I imagine this is through the hallway. So, it could be a sitting area, it could be anything, but we've staged it as an office. It's quite a nice home office. I think I'd quite like that space, but it's really just to go show the power of, hey, this is an interesting space. It's in, maybe it's not for everyone, but here's some ideas for it. Then we have Scandinavian. This one is very pretty. Kind of quite similar to Hamptons, but that little bit, we've got that white. It's very quite modern, but it is beautiful and it has some really rich. I always love the paintings that come out with these ones. And then we have an example here as well where, you look at that online, maybe it looks a bit small for a bedroom, but, going to show, yeah, could easily fit a bedroom. A lot of the virtual staging editors are kind of quite trained to instantly see a space and know the depth of it. A lot of the times, if you can provide the dimensions of a room to whoever's editing it, it actually is quite helpful because they double, it kind of confirms what they already know. But most editors out there aren't going to go stick a media room in a space like this, they understand that that's not realistic to the space. And I think that is quite key when you're looking at virtual staging. And then finally, you have some customized options available as well. Now, you probably don't need this extreme. This is a Thanksgiving option we did in for the United States, but it just goes to show that there are ways that you can tailor it to your branding as well. So say you want every staged image to come back with a tablecloth with your branding colors on it, or, you want to be able to put a photo of a family in there as well. So you really want to tailor it to a particular client. We have that option as well. So there is, most companies will offer their X amount of styles, but if you want something that's a little bit more luxurious or a little bit more tailored to you guys, you always got that option as well. Maybe not everyone needs a Thanksgiving photo, but I think the pumpkins are kind of cute. So just to wrap up for today, I have some 5 tips that I think would be quite key when you're virtually staging. The first one is begin with high quality photos. So I know a lot of the times you're probably getting a photographer to take it, but if you are taking it yourself, just to make sure that the photo you are using is as high quality as possible. So the lens doesn't have like smudges on it, the lighting's done well. The high quality photo you can provide, the better quality the stage is going to be. It's going to be more realistic. Number 2 is stage based on your target audience. I think this one is quite key because a lot of the time, we see a space and maybe we want to stage it the way we would like it, but we may not be the intended audience. So really thinking about, okay, what do I want to achieve with this virtual staging and who do I want to appeal to? Sometimes you'll be staging to post in your listing. Other times you'll be staging based on a particular person in mind. So really understanding if it is that person, what they like and what they liked about the property when you showed them the first time, and really being able to kind of showcase what they could do with it as well. Create a mood board. I think this one is quite key because a lot of the times we just get, or you'll submit photos and there won't be much context to it. The more context you can provide, the more realistic it's going to be to what you would like to get out of it. Sometimes really what you want to do is, hey, we've got these rooms staged as bedrooms, but we want to see them as something else. Sweet. Some inspiration, it can come from Pinterest, it can come from Google, whatever. It's just always going to help your editor really be able to understand the task at hand. Don't conceal flaws. That is the big one. If you are taking photos of a particular space and, maybe you've taken photos of that particular house and you're rolling it out online, and there's a huge crack in something that won't be fixed by the time the person is there, don't conceal it. Just show it and kind of embrace it with the staging and kind of let it blend in. Like I showed with that one earlier, that PowerPoint that really does stick out. The second you stage and you fill it a bit, obviously in that instance, we have concealed it, but you're not going to notice it as much when it's furnished. It's not going to be the first thing your eyes drawn to. So if it's going to be a flaw that's there, don't conceal it. I would recommend staging around it. And finally, disclose. There's nothing worse than if someone, you've virtually staged something and they think that's what they're going to see and they've fallen on, in love with the listing, or they've fallen in love with the photos online, and you get there and it's completely different. Obviously, there is some realms in the new build space because maybe you're showing them pictures of a different property and then bringing it into that space, but just let people know it's staged virtually. They understand staging. They understand the fact that it is easier to virtually stage. So yeah, just making sure that disclosure is on there. So that's all I had for you guys today. If you have any questions at all, you've got my email address on the screen. So yeah, please feel free to holler at me. I'm based in London, so any questions, I'm local. Thank you, Joseph.
Well, thank you very much, Alana, for joining us at Show Home Live and sharing that insight with us. It was an incredibly interesting and visual presentation. Going back to the styles, you mentioned the fact that perhaps contemporary designs are the most popular. Actually, we are seeing as well an increasing demand for urban and industrial style. One that I particularly like. And even when you spoke about the traditional and the rural styles, like farmhouses, for example, I do think these also have a place. It just depends on the likes and the preferences of the customer. So yeah, it was really interesting to see all of those different styles on the screen. Um, I'm curious to know, when it comes to the virtual staging process, how much involvement does the customer have in that process? So if I'm a house builder, for example, I've asked you to stage my property. Obviously, I would give you instructions on how I want the property to look, but how much more involvement can I have in the process?
That's a great question. And it kind of works very different for each person. So you can have as much involvement as you like. You can also say, hey, I've got no idea what I'm doing. Go do it for me. So when you submit it, especially with our service, basically what you're asked some really quite basic questions. So what style would you like? What type of room it is? Quite simple. Then you have this option to provide reference images and some text. So that's where I really think if you have a particular vision in mind, it is so, so key to be able to use those references and the text functions. Because basically, the more information you can give us, the more it's going to be like the vision you have in your head. So if if you're able to provide the image and then a floor plan and you want the bed in a certain way, tell us that. If you have a particular, you want to use farmhouse, but you want a few items to be included in it, send us a reference image and we'll do our absolute best to kind of create that exact image, or we'll find what's in our system already. So yeah, I think a lot of people I worked with in the past, they have such varying levels of different design. I think a lot of people get a bit turned off about providing more reference images because they're like, oh, I don't really have a design eye. The great thing about our service is that it's unlimited reworks. So if provide us an image of something and you're like, oh, actually doesn't look as great as what I would like, or our editors, put a massive plant there and you're just like, "Ah, actually, this person's going to kill a plant. I don't want a plant in there," to just like reminder that they're not going to be able to treat it well. So fine, we can rework that and remove it. We just need kind of a little bit of guidance of, hey, what did you love? What did you not like?
Yeah, that's really good to know. I think, as you've just said, so if, for example, I were to come back to you and say, actually, we don't want a mirror there, or this is a home aimed more at families, so I don't think that we don't need that desk there or that office space. But actually, what
Bar
we'd like
cart. I've
is
seen a few bar carts of late.
a
Like
more
maybe
kid,
we don't want that.
yeah, a more kid-friendly area. Then they can come back to you and you can change those things.
Yeah,
Um,
so I think that's such a key thing as well. Like I said, if you are providing these details and you are a little bit worried, do not stress. You have that unlimited rework, so you can keep reworking it for a long time. I think the only person that may get a bit frustrated after the 100th time might be your emails, because you get an email saying it's done. But no, absolutely, you can rework it until you're happy, and that's how I want our service to be used.
And I'm also really intrigued to learn a bit more about the furnishings and the finishing touches themselves that you put into the staged images. So where do they come from? Is it from your end, or does the house builder, can they say to you, for example, we work with this manufacturer, so could you use furniture from them? How does that work?
Yeah. So we have a catalog of thousands and thousands of virtual staging, little images. So whether it's a bed, a chair, everything like that. We do have people come to us saying, hey, these are the exact furnishings I want. That is perfectly fine. What we'll do is we'll do our best to go into our catalog and find something that matches. If there's not something that's an exact match, or basically like for a like, we'll come back to you with it. And then if you want that exact item, to everything has to be exact, we can create it for you. Sometimes it's just a small cost on that one. So typically it'll come from our catalog of chairs, beds and everything like that. But if it is quite specific and you are working with a manufacturer, do not be discouraged. There is absolutely a way that we can work it out to kind of customize that to you.
And just finally, Alana, I wanted to clarify a point that you made when you were talking about concealing flaws, and your advice was that it's best not to conceal those flaws, to show them. Um, so just to be clear, because I'm imagining if you are looking to buy it, to purchase a property, and you're shown a flaw, that might ring alarm bells. So are you saying that actually it's better to show the flaw, but also to show the image of what the area will look like once it's been fixed?
Yeah, so it's kind of up to you how you want to play it. If me personally, I would absolutely show the non-staged image and the staged image. The reason why for that is I actually think sometimes showing an empty space with the furniture really just kind of doubles up on those ideas of, oh, okay, this is how big the space is. This is what I do to change it. But secondary is you never want someone to rock up to the property for the first time seeing it and then be disappointed because there is a flaw there, because it just naturally like they walk away disappointed, and you want them to leave, feeling excited. So absolutely I'd be putting the empty shot and the stage shot, or if maybe it's physically staged, and you've got things removed since then, however you kind of want to work that array. But being able to showcase the potential, I guess, like, there's a crack in the mirror or there's a crack in the floor and it's just not gonna, it's just the cement has cracked or something's happened to it, really kind of just goes and helps people because they're not going to walk away disappointed. And that's, I think, the biggest reason. And we work with so many estate agents who have unfortunately not disclosed that the property is virtually staged and people have gone there and it's empty, and it's not been a fun conversation for the real estate agent. So I think we can lean on our friends in the real estate space where they've been staging for such a long time, and that is their biggest feedback, is whether it's a disclaimer on the photo or whether it's just letting people know in the description before they get there that there's something different. It's just going to save you like some awkward conversations in real life.
Yeah, I think this is an aspect that is much more relevant to existing properties, so less so for new builds. But I do see that it does also have a space, perhaps not thinking of flaws as cracks in mirrors or cracks in the walls, because they are new builds and we expect them to be built to top quality level. But perhaps a flaw or just something, something that's unfinished. So maybe in this case, in a new build property, you might see a flaw as something that's not quite there yet, and therefore with virtual staging, you can say to the potential customer, this is the room as it stands. So when you come and view it, it might still be in this final building or design process, but this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah, and when you walk around a construction site that's almost done and the lights sticking out or something like that, or that's one of the last things that go in, something like that as well. So
Yeah.
it's better in that instance because you're showing the photo online and it's not finished, and they're going to get there and it is going to be finished. I have had a few experiences with like cracked floors before, so
Okay, well, as I said, we definitely hope that wouldn't be the case in the new field. But
if you're not in
thank you.
carpet, no.
Thank you very much once again for joining us. It's definitely a very interesting and very current topic. So many house builders now in the new build sector are using virtual staging. And I hope that others that perhaps aren't doing so much will take away some insight and some inspiration from this session and start to do so. So thank you
Yeah.
very much.
No, thank you for having me.